I'm Dr. Kanaka Sudhakar from New Delhi. Before, let me just tell a few words about myself. I was born in a Tamil Brahmin, devout, disciplined, Orthodox family. My father worked in the Indian embassy, and due to which I traveled to many countries, learned so many languages and cultures. And I still remember I performed Russian ballet. I learned Russian ballet, and I performed in a school in Yugoslavia. In the same Yugoslavia, one day I saw the dance of my namesake, Kanaka Srinivasan, very senior to me, and she was amazing. The vibrant footwork, the expression, the mudras, the beautiful, colorful costumes. And at that time, I realized that even if I was born abroad, my soul danced to the rhythm of India. From my childhood, I wanted to become a Bharatanatyam artist and a doctor. My logical soul, my logical mind always wanted to study the human body. But my artistic mind wanted to express through the human body. Social norms, family expectations, and I ended up becoming a registered pharmacist. I did pharmaceutics, and I bagged a government job. And then I got married, and I had 2 children. And one of my daughter is a professional Bharatanatyam artist. My son is a physiotherapist. Then fate gifted me a beautiful family of naturopaths. My father-in-law, Dr. L. Ramachandran, is a visionary of drugless therapy. And then he encouraged me to learn from the legendary VP and Shanta Dhananjayans of Chennai. That was the spark that lit the journey of my life. In 1994, after 7 years of research under the guidance of my father-in-law and many doctors, I came across the book, The Indian Classical Dances, The Therapeutic Advantages. And this was released by Sterling Publishers and by Sahitya Kala Parishad, published by Sterling Publishers. And it studied into the incidental benefits of Indian classical dance forms on the body. Then my artistic mind, whenever I was dancing, I kept on asking myself when I did Abhinaya, when I did the Shollus or the Adavus, what does this do to the body? What is it doing to my soul? What is it doing to my mind? How come, unlike Russian ballet dancers, Indian classical dancers dance and create and are so active to a ripe old age? All these things that came into my mind made me establish a society called Sunayana, Society for the Upliftment of National Arts of India, through which we could think, express, and do research. I then thought that Indian classical dance should not be only the dance of the elite. It should come to the grassroots level. So we enrolled and registered with the Song and Drama division, in which we performed and curated and choreographed classical dance for the JJ colonies, the slum people, and the underprivileged, the grassroots level, where they have no awareness of classical dance. We created dance also on drug abuse, alcohol abuse, child labor, women emancipation, and such. Then, later on, let's now delve into the research that I did. In the research, I was thinking that what is the main thing in the body that actually is active when we dance? And that is the muscular system. Every single muscle in the body, you all must be knowing, many of you, that there are about 650 voluntary muscles in our body and about millions of muscle fibers, all under our voluntary control. When we control and when we move any part of the body, we are stimulating the internal organs. I named this thing, that is a very special thing, as muscular trigger. It's like a trigger. When you pull a trigger, then the bullet flies. Like that, when we trigger the internal organs with our voluntary movements, it is called a muscular trigger. And then, in Indian classical dance, we use every single part of the body. In the Abhinaya Darpanam, the body parts are divided into Anga, Upanga, and Pratyanga. the major body parts, the minor body parts, and the subsidiary body parts. Very scientific. And then you can see how the body is divided. Now, when these body parts are performed together, that is, we follow 5 basic rules. Whatever is done on the right is repeated on the left, like te yum tatta te yum tam. You have to repeat whatever you did on the right on the left. Look where the hands go. The angle of bending on the right and the left should be the same. Keep the spine erect, smile and express. These are the 5 basic rules. When you, for example, I want to do 7 movements: head, eyes, neck, arm, fingers, waist. So if I do all these legs, feet, if I do them separately, they will take 10 seconds. If I do them together, it will take 1 second. So this is called SSM, the Simultaneous Symmetric Movement System, SSM. That's how I have named it. So let me show you a very small item of Bharatanatyam, in which by doing SSM, that is simultaneous symmetric movement, how many movements can be done in the shortest possible time. So this is Allaripu. We can see on the both sides, the movements are being done, following the rhythm at the same time. Whatever is done on the right is immediately repeated on the left. Angle of bending on both sides is the same. That was the Allaripu, and this was only half the Allaripu. That was 1.5 minutes. The Allaripu is of 3 minutes, and in that we do a whopping 397 movements. So just imagine, in 3 minutes, if we can do 397 movements, then what does it do to the body? So this is done, this was a big student, but can be done by a 6-year-old, a 7-year-old, an 8-year-old. And while doing this type of an SSM, so many parts of the body from the top to the bottom are activated, stimulated, toned, and such diseases like muscular dystrophy, degenerative diseases, asymmetrical development, joint pains and all that disappear. They're just prevented from coming. If we now go to the brain, they say that many people tell me that, Acha, you're dancing, so what else are you doing? I think people who don't have any brains, they dance. They could not get good marks in their schools, so they pursued dancing. But if you now just listen now to the next part, I say that dance is food for the brain. I name dance, classical dance, as food for the brain. Now, let us see why. There is so much focus needed when you dance. So much things to be remembered, sequences, so many talams. Now, I'll just tell you one small example. there is a thing called tala recitation. We have to actually count. We have to actually calculate. There is a lot of maths involved. Suppose I say that you have to say 3 beats, tisram, ta, ki, ta, in 3 speeds. So if it is the first speed, it is 1 beat, 1 bol. If it is the second speed, it is 1 beat, 2 sounds and 2 bol. And if it is third speed, it is 1 beat, 4 bol. So if you say in the second speed, it is 1.5 and 1.5. And if it is third speed, it is 0.75, 0.75, 0.75. So ta, ki, ta, ada, ki, ta, ada, ki, ta, ada, ki, ta, ta, 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 ki, ta. Odd number. Even numbers are easy, but odd numbers are all in fractions. Like that, if we say a bowl, it is the only art form in the world in which we do this beating, counting, and speaking. Dalang kutakati kutakata dingina tum tadit tajum 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 ta ta ti tadingina tum takadit tajum 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 te ta ti tadingina tum tadit tajum tajum ta takadit tajum tajum te ta ta jum takatiku tadingina tum takatiku tadingina tum takatiku tadingina tum tam. So this tam is called the sum. This is actually something that stimulates the prefrontal cortex of the brain. There is different parts of the brain. There is another thing called perceptions, spatial perception, visual perception, sequential perception. These are all perceptions where the student of dance, while performing, has to visualize space, remember sequences, and also remember sequences and space and visualize things according to the lyrics, according to the shapes, the geometrical patterns that we create in space. According to Albert Frederick Jung, a researcher, whose research work I also followed, by giving the body movements of variety, in which you have to remember sequence of movements, which is in a variety, such movements actually increase the oxygen transport capacity to the brain and thus improves IQ. One day, when I was giving such a lecture in Balbharti school, and at the end of the lecture, the principal sir, Matthew sir, comes on the stage and he says, after listening to ma'am's speech, I was just wondering why the cream of our students in our school are, incidentally, they are all learning classical dance. Outside, not in the school, they are learning. But I was thinking that it was a coincidence. But now I see that it is not a coincidence, it is the result. Classical dance actually is food for the brain. Now I'm going to touch on one more thing about the brain, because it's a huge chapter. Neuromaturational delays. What is neuromaturational delay? In a class, so many students are there, and many of them are 50% scorers, some are 60% scorers, some are 46, some are failures, and maybe 10 to 20% in normal schools, they are 90%, 100% scorers. Why the difference? Everybody has got the brain. So when I consulted one of my people whom we were working together in this research, Dr. P.N. Singh, she said that she's an educational psychologist and a child psychologist also. She said 70% of children studying in schools are slow learners. This is because of the neuromaturational delay. Neuromaturation, suppose there is an action. I'll now make you do an action. Suppose there's an action like this. The right finger going up, then left finger. Then this is an alternate movement. So if a child of 5 or 4 cannot do this, child of 3, 4, 5 cannot do this. But once the child is above 5 years of age, then they must be able to do it. Suppose she doesn't or he doesn't, he's not able to do it. That means there is a problem. There is a neuromaturational delay. And then that child turns out to be a slow learner and cannot score that well in their studies. Then usually parents put them for tuitions. But even then, because the problem is there, they will not get the marks. They are not scoring in academics. Then, if suppose they go to a doctor And that doctor, pediatrician, they give them certain exercises. They said do alternate. There are 19 parameters, 19. So I'll just tell you about 2 or 3. For example, alternate movements. So this is an alternate movement. In dance, classical dance, it is already endowed with these alternate movements from the first day. So you beat your feet alternatively. Te yate, te yate, yate yum, tatta, te yum tam. Ta, hatta, jum, tari, tam, and all these steps. When one hand is doing something, the other hand will do something else. Then when that hand stays, then this hand will do. This is called alternate movements. There are synchronous movements. There is finger agnosia. That is the recognition of the fingers. What else do you need in classical dance? The mudras is a very typical, characteristic symbol of classical dance. Pataka, Tripataka, Ardha Pataka, Kartri Mugha, Mayurakyo, Ardha Chandrascha, Ralaha, Shukatundaka, Mushtishcha, Shikarayascha, all these movements, all these mudras, they, should not look at them. Without looking at them, you should be able to perform the mudras, and that is called finger agnosia. This is a very big tonic to the brain. Like that, there is choreoform movements, that is the ability to hold a movement at a part. So when I'm doing this movement, this particular hand is held there. It should be able to hold there, hold the poses and everything. So this, there were 19 parameters that we studied in this, and all of them are present in dance as a natural. So the yogis, who made the dance form, have not made it just like a dance. It is a healing. That is why Patanjali Muni, he was inspired, they say, by the dance of Lord Shiva, and he made the Yoga Shastra just by looking at and admiring the beautiful Tandava of Lord Shiva. When we go further into the brain, the emotional outlet, Frederick and Dougal, they were psychologists, they have told that it's very necessary to have emotional outlet. Emotional outlet, gussa karna, to be hangry, to be sad, to love, to smile, to show the various emotions. Of course, you all know that Indian classical dance is a sea of emotions. When you show emotions, that is called evoking the Navarasa. You have to evoke the Sthai Bhava with the help of some imaginary, suppose this is a snake, and I'm looking at the snake and I'm scared. So I'm evoking, bringing out fear. If you have to smile, different types of smiles, smiling at oneself, smiling at others, laughing at others, love, Shringaram. You're bringing it out. Sita looking at Rama, Radha looking at Krishna, anger. So it can be Narasimha, it can be any character from whom the anger was aroused, Veeram. Suppose Kalia was killed by Krishna. And so the emotional outlet, they say that when you bring out the emotional outlets, you're a very much balanced person. It is very, very important part of the working of the brain. If you go further into the heart and the lungs, of course, everybody knows that dance is a very good exercise. But what is so special about Indian classical dance that we studied? There were 2 amazing things that I found. When we dance in Indian classical dance, usually it is actually an aerobic exercise. So aerobic means we can do it for a prolonged time at a moderate pace without actually, getting tired. And what is so special in this? Why are we able to do it for such a long time? 2 hours is a normal performance, 2 hours. We can perform for 2 hours without getting tired. So a thing is called alternate rest and exercise. When we perform, there are 2 parts. One, when we perform, fast movements. In that, the heart rate goes up and toxins are created, you feel pain, and then suddenly you slow down. You walk back. This is also part of the dance. You're walking back, then you're holding a posture, you're waiting. At this time, the recovery rate. Then again you burst into an activity. Then again you slow down. Then you perform. Then you pose. Then you walk. Then you slow down. Then you sit. So this alternate rest and exercise of that is followed in Indian classical dance actually gives us this graph that is called the steady state level. So when we perform the Alaripu, Jatiswaram, the pain is felt. Then we perform the Shabdam, which is a Vinaya-based item. Then the toxins are cleared at that time. Then we come to the Varnam, the longest item. At the end of the Varnam, we feel that, yeah, we can dance for 1 more hour. No problem. So, and if we come to the circulatory system, the heart, these are the peripheral hearts, that is the muscle fibers. I told you before there are 650 muscle fibers and lakhs of muscle fibers in the body which are under our control. In a trained body, these muscle fibers are always in a state of vibration. In a stagnant, in a stationary person who's doing stationary job, it is not in a state of vibration. So it is like this. It is vibrating all the time. So it helps you to push the blood back to the heart. It is pushing against the artery that is going, arteriole, the capillary that is going through it, and it helps in venous return. That is, the heart gets that much help. All these muscles that are beating like, vibrating like this, I call them mini heart. Sorry. They are the mini pumps, they are mini hearts, and they are actually helping the venous return. So in such a person, the heart rate is about 40, 45, 50 resting heart rate. And their reserve capacity is more. They can go more because their heart rate, resting heart rate is less. Another very important part of dance is the barefoot. The thap, whether it is Kathak or Bharatanatyam or any dance form that is classical, traditional, we perform the barefoot, this thing. In this, I studied for 3 years acupressure under Dr. Raman Kapoor. And Dr. Raman Kapoor is an acupressure specialist. He is on the panel of WHO. And I was thinking, this is something unique. What is the secret behind the exceptional health and fitness of artists, Indian classical dancers? So I thought that barefoot thing is something that is very unique. So let me ask Dr. Raman Kapoor, who is a reflexology and acupressure specialist. And he said that I'm so convinced that this is a perfect acupressure massage that's going on here. And suppose this is done in the course, how long does it take for a classical dancer to study? It does not how long does it take, but it takes years, many, many years. After that also the performance goes on and on, on and on. Then this is such a good acupressure massage. It is handling, as you can see, every point, every area of the planta of the foot is connected through channels to some part of the body. So everything is kept. So of course, this is a Chinese acupressure system. It is a little bit different from the allopathy system. There are so many systems of medicine, but this barefoot thing, of course, so many people will agree that connecting the foot to the ground is a very good way of, keeping the body fit and along with nature. Then also I studied yoga and dance. So if you see what is not there in dance, in classical dance, it is a dynamic yoga. What is yoga? Yoga, you can say that just sitting in a place, closing your eyes and doing pranayama is not yoga. Yoga is focus, concentration. Yoga is keeping the back straight and promoting good circulation and breathing. So when I studied deep breathing, I felt, and even my father-in-law agreed to this, that when we do deep breathing sitting in one place, we are not actually creating the need for that oxygen that we are taking inside. But when we are doing deep breathing during exercise, during work, during dance, then at that time we are creating a need for that oxygen that we are taking in. Thus, the carbon dioxide oxygen imbalance is not created. So a better way of doing pranayama is doing pranayama doing the deep breathing during the dance. So in dance, we have to hold our breath when we are doing the very fast movements, and then when we are doing the slow movements or going back, as I told you, at that time we have, till that time the heart was, we can feel it pounding. And the breath was, because we can't let the breath out when we are dancing. Like, we can't do like that. It has to be, the mouth has to be kept closed and breath has to be held when we are doing the fast movements. When we can let go of the breath when we are doing the slow movements. So this is a type of yoga. Yoga also means meditation. Meditation does not mean closing of the eyes. Meditation means focus. Suppose an artist has faced a tragedy at home, and now she is coming for a performance. She has a performance, and there has been a tragedy at home. She is in the performance. She has to show a happy face. She has to show Yashoda calling to Krishna. She has to go after him. She has to do all the things, focusing and creating that Krishna in front of her. And this is called a meditation. And that creates something natural, happiness called Sahajananda. Yoga is also about asanas. So I studied so many, that is, for example, I see Tadasana. It is equal to Samapada Sthanakam. Vrikshasana, Ekapada Sthanakam. Trikonasana. This is a Natadabal. Similar poses, Veerabhadrasana. This is dance pose and this is dynamic pose, Padasthasana. So, in this made me create a thing called yogic aerobics, where I got letters from all over the world, people saying that we agree to your research, but we are now 50, we are now 40, we are now 60. How can we start now? How can we benefit? So I created a system called yogic aerobics, very medically created system, 10 cycles, each cycle consisting of 10 movements, and I'll just show you a cycle. Any person who has not learned dance and who is above 50, cycle by cycle they improve in their lethargy, in their fitness level, in their stamina, in their agility, in their dexterity. So this is cycle number 4. Please play this thing.
Yogic aerobics, cycle number 4. Five, six, seven, start. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4. Heel up, down. 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2. Now do the waterfall movement. 7, 8 and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4. Going to the creeper movement.
Thank you. So let us not just dance for the art, but dancing for health. Thank you.